What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the chronically charismatic Dr. Disaster, and it looks like it's damage control time for the people at Bioware. Sure, all of the corporate media shills out there are trying to make it sound as though Dragon Age the Veilguard is doing really well, but their words mean virtually nothing to most of us in the gaming community.
Look, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit A.
But you know what is meaningful? When we hear confirmation right out of the horse's mouth that things are not going well for Bioware with Dragon Age the Veilguard. This guy right here is the project director / executive producer for the next Mass Effect game that is slated to come out sometime in the next few years, and this dude just said something on Twitter that is very telling. He's trying like hell to distance his project with the absolute dumpster fire that is Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Wait a minute, you gotta understand, man. I never even saw these assholes before.
I mean, you can't blame the dude for trying, but I don't think it's gonna work at all. Bioware now has a track record of being awful and making games for the modern audience. Look at their last few titles, Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, and now Dragon Age the Veilguard. I don't think gamers are likely to forget the shitstorm that Bioware has rained down on all of us anytime soon. In fact, I'm pretty sure that moving forward, whenever these jackasses announce new games, the typical response from your average gamer will be to assume that the forecast calls for complete and absolute shit.
Hey everybody, there's a shit cloud coming! Run for your lives!
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter or X, or whatever you want to refer to it as these days. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But alright, let's talk about what this guy from Bioware said about Dragon Age the Veilguard, how his game isn't going to be anything like it. The first and most important thing to note about this tweet before we look at it is the fact that the dude felt compelled to say this in the first place. He tries to distance his project from the Veilguard, and he tries to do it for a reason. Think about this. If the game was actually popular, like all the mainstream media is trying to claim, then this guy would be attempting to ensure that you knew that his game was going to be just like it. But no, instead, he's going out of his way here to let everyone know that the new Mass Effect won't be like Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is what he said. Lots of people asking me about Mass Effect now that Veilguard reviews are out and October 31st is close. Both are from the studio, but Mass Effect is Mass Effect. How you bring a sci-fi RPG to life is different than other genres or IPs, and has to have different kinds of love. Once again, as I said, this is him attempting to distance his project from Dragon Age, and he wouldn't do that if the internal numbers at Bioware were any good. But check this out, he responded to his own tweet about 6 hours later. To me, this reads like somebody higher up than him at the company had some words with the dude and told him to fix what he said because people were drawing the obvious conclusion. He wrote, "Regarding tone questions, Mass Effect will maintain the mature tone of the original trilogy. This is all I'm gonna say for now." And that right there should be the dagger in the heart for anyone who wants to try and pretend like the tone in the Veilguard isn't a major problem. So many of us have been talking about this as an issue ever since the very first trailer came out for this game back in the summer. You might remember that the trailer had that cover of the David Bowie song Heroes, and it introduced all the characters in the story like it was going to be a heist movie or something, and everybody mocked the game, calling it a Fortnite heist movie because the graphics and tone made it look like Fortnite. They fixed the tone in the subsequent trailers, but we have been warning people in these spaces that the darker tone in the trailers that came afterwards, those trailers were just a cover-up so that people would be tricked into buying this game. And obviously, the true feel of the game wasn't going to be dark and gritty like the original Dragon Age titles. We said that it looked as though the game was going to be cartoonish and silly, with MCU levels of humor, and it seems like we were right. This guy that is working on the Mass Effect game might as well have come right out and said exactly that. He is trying to distance his project because the sales numbers are clearly disappointing for Bioware, and because the reviews aren't favorable once you look outside the mainstream media bubble. I mean, look at this here. This is a screenshot from a guy yesterday on Steam who has had the chance to play the game, and this is just a taste of what he wrote. We're going to read this second paragraph here where it says, "Anyway, the point is the game is woke as F." Now, that's all well and good, but it gets a lot worse because regardless of political and ideological agendas, if we're looking at this game from a purely mechanical perspective, it still reeks. I can't give you an example of a single mechanic that I enjoyed. The crafting is laughable. Itemization is horrible. Character builds and progression are meaningless, and the combat is the worst offender. It's beyond simplistic, with every class and subclass feeling largely the same. The enemies all feel the same too, and the only difficulty the game provides stems from enemies having an absurd amount of health, making a lot of fights a real slog. New enemies appear out of nowhere, attacking in waves. You may think you're up against 3 Darkspawn, but nah. Have fun grinding down these 6 waves of teleporting "see you next Tuesdays" that will never kill you, but take 10 minutes to finish off. I mean, geez, that sounds cartoonish, amateurish, and awful. Maybe if they spent less time worrying about all the activistic shit that they injected into the game, maybe they could have made something that wasn't so absolutely atrocious in the eyes of most gamers. Look at this puzzle that they added into the game.
Oh, what a loser!
Wow, what a real head scratcher there, huh? I wonder how that gamer ever figured that one out. But that's just the thing. Everything from this game, from the graphics and art style to the character design, it just feels childish and weak and just off. No wonder Mass Effect is trying like hell to distance itself from Dragon Age, but I just don't see it working for them. Anyhow, I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Mass Effect and Bioware as they try to do damage control for the Veilguard. Drop that mockery into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.